This is Neal Bryant with the Airborne Flight Crew, and this is my review of the Airborne Taka. I've always been interested in downhill and wanted to get involved, but the sport seemed very cost prohibitive. So when Airborne told me I could select a bike from their lineup for testing and review, I knew immediately that I wanted the Taka. And after putting it through the paces all across the southern United States, I'm ready to give you my thoughts. The Taka has a super beefy aluminum frame with 8 inches of travel using a high single pivot system. There's a closed, bolted axle in the back to keep the rear wheel locked in, and topping it all off is a 1.5 inch head tube mated with a dual crown fork. All of these elements come together to make for a bomb-proof design. The fork on the Taka is a Marzocchi 888 RV. It only has rebound adjustment, and I'm reviewing it from the point of view of someone who weighs 155 pounds, but it performs very well. Stiffness is rock solid, and once you get your rebound set correctly for the situation, the 888 works well to suck up gnar and swallow the big hits. The rear shock is a Marzocchi Rocco R. It has coil preload, rebound, and air valve bottom out adjustment. It's a solid shock and works well with the single pivot. One thing worth mentioning here is because of the design of the frame, the shock can be difficult to adjust, especially if you have larger hands. That aside, these components combine to make the Taka glide down rough descents and really cushion you on the big slams. The core stem and handlebars are rock solid performers. While a direct mount stem would be really nice here, it's very hard to complain at the Taka's price point. The drivetrain on the Taka, I think, is awesome. FSA cranks, an E13 chain guide, and a SRAM X7 rear derailleur are worry-free components. I hammered this bike ride after ride, and I didn't have to make a single adjustment until I bent my derailleur cage in a crash. The brakes are hydraulic Avid Juicy 3s with 8-inch rotors. These brakes have enough stopping power to keep you on the course, and I haven't noticed much brake fade. I'll be hanging on to these for a while. The WTB Laserdisc downhills are tough wheels, and they've stood up against all of the abuses I've been able to throw at them. They're dressed with a ferocious set of Maxxis Minion tires, a DHF up front and a DHR behind. I love these tires. They'll stick to almost anything and have kept me glued to the course in even the loosest conditions. The most interesting thing to me about the Taka is even with its $1,500 asking price, nothing on the bike feels cheap. Right out of the box with no upgrades, it's ready to go toe-to-toe on the trail with bikes that cost twice as much. There's always room for improvement. The Taka's 66-degree head tube angle is a little steep for current downhill trends, and I do find myself wishing for a slacker angle sometimes. I may install a Cane Creek angle set, an upgrade that I've heard pairs very well with this bike. When it's all said and done, I have to give the Taka a big thumbs up. After sessioning with much pricier bikes, I think the Taka is a no-brainer if you're someone like me that wants to get into downhill, but you also have bills to pay. The bike hasn't let me down once, and has really let me open up on the downhill course in ways I didn't see possible with a bike at this price. I hope to ride it for a while to come, and I really look forward to seeing what Airborne does with downhill after this.